Good evening. The Board of Commissioners is here for a public hearing. I'll read the header here. The Board of Commissioners of the City of Mount Juliet will have a public hearing on Monday, February 26th at 6:15 at City Hall on the following items to be considered on second and final reading. There's four of them. The first is to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance 2023-2024. These four items to purchase vehicles for the City of Mount Juliet EMS Department, to replace damaged drug fund vehicle, repairs to the fire EMS department vehicles, and to purchase a vehicle for the police department. The public is invited to attend and comment on any of these four items. If you would like to make a comment, I'd ask you to come to the podium, give your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and reconvene for the regular meeting at 6:30. Thanks, everyone. Hello, today is February 26th, and I'll call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. We have a quorum present pursuant to City Code 62210, and we'll proceed with the conducting of city business. I'll say good evening to everyone out in the audience. Thank you for coming to the meeting tonight. It's the Mount Juliet Board of Commissioners. My name is Mayor James Maness, and on behalf of the commission and the staff, I want to welcome you here to this meeting here tonight. Tennessee law gives every Tennessean the right to attend a city commission meeting and observe how their government is doing business. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to be here with us. So the first item on our agenda is the setting of the agenda. I'd start off by, if there's no objections, converting 11A through 11D to consent agenda, to the consent agenda. Is there any objections to making that change? Hearing no objections, we will make that change. I'd also like to move item number 15C, this is for the police department, to the beginning of our new business to be the first item to be considered under new business. Is there any objection to moving 15C? Hearing none. City Manager, do you have anything to add?
Yes, sir, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'd like to pull item 13A, remove it from the agenda for tonight.
Okay, 13A will be pulled from the agenda at the request of the sponsor. Any other changes? Any objections to the changes? Hearing none, we'll set the agenda with 11A through D added to consent. We will read 15C as the first item under new business, and 13A has been removed at the request of the sponsor. All right, we have a 75-page packet to go through tonight, 4 items under unfinished business, and now 6 items under new business. If you need a copy of the agenda, they're in the wire baskets, and if you're watching online, the agenda is available online. Our next item is our invocation and pledge of allegiance. I'd like to ask our PIO officer, Mr. Beasley, if you would, sir, lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. If y'all will stand with me. Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for everything. We thank you for this great city that many of us call home. We thank you for our elected body. Lord, you ask us to pray for those that we appoint in these positions, not only here, but in our nation, Lord. Please just give them your wisdom, your discernment. Lord, move in their midst, and Lord, just help them with the decisions they have, not only in this season, but tonight here specifically in Mount Juliet. Lord, we also thank you for our city management and the wealth of knowledge that you've given them. We thank you for the people that make the city so great that we know has an abundance of opportunity, great family lifestyle as well, Lord. We give you the honor and the praise for that, Lord. And we just thank you for all the great things that come from you. We also want to point out, as we come up on the 4-year anniversary of the tornadoes that touched the Middle Tennessee area and our community specifically, we thank you for the healing power that you've surrounded those families with. We thank you for how you've restored our community and given us so much to look forward to as well, Lord. But may we never forget that day and the lives that were impacted. We pray these things in your holy and precious name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley. We have next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We have one set of minutes from February 12th, 2024. Is there a motion? Motion and second. Commissioner Mullally, you're asking for the floor?
Yeah, I would like to defer these for further reading. There's several corrections that need to be done, too numerous to go over here. So I would like to defer that for the next meeting. And then
You want to get with the recorder separately? I'll second the deferral for one meeting. Any questions or comments on the advisement of deferral? All right. All in favor of deferring the minutes for one meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will rehear the minutes on for February 12th at our next meeting. Next item on our agenda is going to be citizen comments. We just ask at the beginning of the presentation, you give us your name and address. Please address all your comments to the mayor. If necessary, I'll ask somebody to address any comments you have. However, the board is under no obligation to respond from questions from the table. Please avoid the use of improper language, profanity, or any other inappropriate conduct. And once the citizens' input portion of the meeting is over, the commission will proceed with the remainder of the agenda. You're welcome and encouraged to stay. So we'll open the floor.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Tom Needham. I live at 12425 Lebanon Road, Mount Juliet. Been here since 1988, and I've always tried to make our city a better place to live. In December of 22, I signed a contract with the city to supply a fireworks show on July 4th, 2023, with the understanding that a sponsorship fundraiser would take place to help cover the expenses. I was told that they anticipated collecting $40,000, with one sponsor giving $20,000. I was never invited to any of the planning meetings, and in early May, I was informed that the city had agreed to spend $40,000 on a stage and entertainment on July 4th at Circle Peak Ranch. I complained that that was a poor use of the sponsorship money because only a very small part of the population of our town would benefit from that expense. On May 12th, I saw a post that said U.S. Community Credit Union was the lead sponsor. I texted Rocky and asked about the money. I was told that all the sponsorship money is going to go to Circle Peak Ranch so that he wouldn't be out any money. I told Rocky that we needed to meet before this happens any further. Our meeting with my daughter Jessica was present and myself. He promised to collect all of the money, the sponsorship money, split between me and Circle P after the show. I then called Circle P and Rufus and I said, look, if I don't get half the money, there's going to be no fireworks this year. They both agreed to give me the money and I believed them. So went ahead and shot the fireworks show. After the 4th, I kept calling Rocky, what about the funds? And he told me he was still collecting the money. At the end of July, he finally set up a meeting at his office. At the meeting, Rocky informed me that there was no money for us. It all went to Rufus to help pay him for the stage money he put out. When I asked what happened about the sponsorship for money for the fireworks, he said, I only collected money for the display, for the stage. I never said I was going to collect money for the fireworks. Why did I deserve that to happen to me? So then I filed an ethics complaint with Obino over here. And as best I could, I tried to figure out, but the deficient, vague, and confusing code made it hard for a person to understand how to file that complaint. I filed a complaint. I got a response from and he said, nope, not going to work. Well, then I tried to get back with him. Section 2, page 4, in the event the city attorney makes a determination the complaint filed is not right, the city attorney shall submit a copy of this order to the complainant, offer the complainant the opportunity to correct the deficiency within 7 days. He never answered me back when I asked him. He never got back with me again. Then all you guys start filing ethics complaints, and you're in the public. Everybody's discussing what happened. What happened to me? I got kicked to the side. Not one person mentioned me getting cheated by them guys. They lied to me. How can a city official lie like that? So I'm just going to tell you, until we get this settled, I'm not going to shoot any fireworks with the city of Mount Juliet again until this gets worked out. I at least get an answer what happened. I deserve that, don't I? I was honest, and I believed them. I didn't do anything wrong. I know some of these people don't like me up here, but I don't like them either, so it really doesn't matter to me. There's mutual feelings. But still, what did I do to deserve this? Any answers? So what I'm going to do is after this code gets redone, I'm going to refile my complaint again. I might be almost out of the 6 months, but I never got a proper shot because the code was wrong. And I think I deserve to file my ethics complaint. And I think it deserves to be heard, at least talked about, and find out what happened. How come they lied to me? What do you think? Any comments?
Well, thank you for your comments. And that is an endeavor that we will take it on, is to look at the ethics code going forward. We
Thank
actually
you.
have a workshop scheduled Wednesday. Hi. Name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Jessica Needham Scales, and I live at 12425 Lebanon Road here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Or as my dear old friend, Mr. Charlie Daniels, may he rest in peace, always said, ain't it a good day to be alive and live in Mount Juliet, Tennessee? I'm here today to announce that we plan to have a 4th of July fireworks celebration put on by the citizens of Mount Juliet this year on Thursday, July 4th. First shots will go up at 9 p.m. Also, we have decided to move our show back to the south side of Mount Juliet and closer to Providence, since there is much more parking available for the whole town to come and watch the show in a central location. The best views for this fireworks show will be from Providence Marketplace and other surrounding parking lots in the areas south of Interstate 40. Providence Marketplace may also end up having an event for the community that day, complete with blow-up bounce houses, face painting, and more. We are currently accepting sponsorships for our 2024 Citizens of Mount Juliet 4th of July fireworks blast. If you'd like to be a sponsor, you can contact us directly at Needham's Nursery via email, phone, Facebook, or better yet, just stop by and see us. We would be happy to work with any size donation, and all donations will go directly towards fireworks and the Lights Above Mount Juliet show. Highest sponsors will get their name and lights above the town. If all goes as planned, this live action drone show will be a first of its kind for our little big city, but it's definitely the future for pyrotechnics world. My hope is that everyone has a 4th of July celebration that will be a lasting memory for many years to come. Thanks for your time, and I can't wait to see the lights over Mount Juliet.
Could you repeat the time and date again, please?
That would be Thursday, July 4th, 2024. The first shots will go up at 9 p.m.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless y'all.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments before I go?
I think we're good. Thank you for your comments.
Thanks.
Any other citizens for citizen comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Sam English with the 2337 Devonshire in Hickory Hills. A couple of things. I was here primarily because of two items on the agenda, the budget on the ethics expenses and the item about a 7-member commission rather than 5. I didn't finish the other night when I was here at the ethics meeting. I just want to tell everybody that I'm so glad that's all over with. So glad that's all over with. And I hope that that wasn't embarrassing, but it should have been. Okay? It should have been embarrassing to the mayor and to all the commissioners. It's a bad egg for Mount Juliet. It's just a bad thing that we have to deal with that. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. English. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, we will close citizen comments and proceed with commissioner comments and reports. Commissioner Justice.
I think I went first last time. If you wanted to defer to the vice mayor.
Okay. You'll let you pass. Vice Mayor.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor. First of all, thank you to everybody that came out tonight, and appreciate the folks that are online. My apologies for not being here last meeting, and I do appreciate the mayor, relaying my message to the folks here and also online. Unfortunately, we all do work full time, most of us up here, and then of course balance life and everything else. So I was traveling that week. Just want to also remind everybody out for the census. I actually thank the police chief. He's actually going to be out in Hickory Hills to help support to get those numbers increased on Wednesday night. So I believe that's going to be from 6 to 8, I believe. He's looking at me. Yep. Okay. He gave me thumbs up. I'm sorry, 5 to 7. Okay. I didn't think I was right, but I got the thumbs up now this time. So 5 to 7. So for any residents that are in that area, I know there was a lot of confusion about Old Hickory and Mount Juliet, and Hickory Hills is part of the city. So anyways, for anybody that wants to come out and get that information, as well as get an opportunity to meet our new police chief, that'd be a great opportunity to shake his hand and to say hello. So the next thing is I just want to thank Rocky and his team for all the work that they've been doing over the last couple of weeks, especially when it comes to bringing our parks back up to the standards as we got past a rough winter. I actually got an opportunity to drive by there a little bit by this week and start seeing a lot of the folks out there, and also City Beautiful. It was really nice to see those folks out there clean up the roads. So just a great job to all those folks out there. And just looking forward to one more thing. If we can, just remind folks as we're traveling for spring break, that's right around the corner. If you are traveling, just be safe. Think about, preparedness for our vehicles, and just make sure that you kind of set, all the emergency items that are in your car as you're traveling. So, Mayor, that concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next, recognize Commissioner Hefner.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to reiterate something that Mr. Beasley mentioned earlier. We are coming up on the 4-year anniversary, so it is tornado season. Just be weather aware. I know they will test the sirens. Normally, is it the first or second day of the month, first Saturday of every month. So just know that that's going to be an alarm as part of their standard protocol in terms of testing that. But just do please be weather aware as we move into tornado season. Also want to give a shout out to a couple of March birthdays. Speaking of the tornado, Mr. Martin, I believe your birthday's coming up March 3rd. So I know we're not meeting before. So I want to wish you an early birthday. And my wife, who's with us tonight, hers is March 4th. So I wanted to wish her a happy birthday. But I'll be doing it on a cruise ship on her actual birthday. So I'll get a chance to do that twice. And then also, too, do want to mention, be careful, spring break. Anybody, if you're traveling out of state, just be careful on your travels and shop local. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mullally.
Thank you. Tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow is the last day to early vote. If you don't know, we have a presidential primary as well as some local elections up for election. The primary election day is March 5th, and tomorrow's the last day to early vote. So if you haven't got your vote in, please go vote. It's very important because everything starts at the local level. A lot of people don't bother voting in local elections, but that's where it starts. Let's see. I plan on sending my newsletter out on Friday. The ethics work session, the work session with the Ethics Commission is a public work session this Wednesday here at 6 o'clock. That's the 28th. Let's see. On 3/19 from 10 to 12, during the day here at City Hall, we're having an open public meeting to discuss open meetings, public records, and ethics training. So the public's invited to attend. Happy birthday to Kenny and Cherie. Let's see. From the Ethics Commission that took place on 2/14, I appreciate Mr. Farmer taking responsibility that he aired for not holding those meetings in the fall in public. And so I do appreciate him taking full responsibility for that. And I too am glad it's over. It was painful to go through, but it was necessary for transparency. So that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Justice.
Thank you, Mayor. Saw a report. Back up a little bit. I saw a report the other day on television. They were talking about the U-Haul reports, where they go ahead and they determine who or what states are actually the most popular states by where the U-Haul trucks are dropped, I guess. And it turns out that Tennessee and Texas were the top two in the nation, with thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of people leaving the West Coast and coming over here and coming to us for a variety of reasons, most of which exist right here in Mount Juliet. So, over the period of the last 52 years that Mount Juliet's been in existence, which is fairly young for a city, we've obviously done something right. So for the people that actually work and live in Mount Juliet, congratulations, great job. The employees and the residents are what make Mount Juliet great. It's not the government, it's the community. I want to say that because part of that community was lost over this weekend
we lost a couple of residents. Kenny brought this to my attention. I didn't even realize who it was. I knew there'd been an accident. We found out after the fact that longtime residents of Mount Juliet, Charles, Pop Rowlett, and Miss Irene, his wife, were involved in a tragic accident Saturday. And they're no longer with us. In our hearts, prayers go out to their kids. Most of you know Brad Rowlett and Jeff Rowlett and Miss Rhonda Jernigan. All of them have been in Mount Juliet all of their lives. And it's the kind of commitment to a community that the Rowletts exhibited throughout their entire lives that made Mount Juliet what it is. It made it great. So very, very sad. And my heart hurts for the family. I know that they're in a much better place, but it doesn't take away the sadness for the family. So just keep in mind, folks, the things that you do in Mount Juliet, the things that you do on behalf of the community, it's what makes Mount Juliet really cool, really great. And it's the people that helped raise me, that kept me here and put me on this commission and make me want to come out and do this stuff all the time. And those people make this what we call city. It's a community, like-minded people, common goal. So if you have to run into the Rowlett family or Rhonda, Amber, the kids, grandkids, let them know that your heart hurts for them, that you're praying for them. Ours is. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. And I will mention early voting tomorrow is the last day to go early vote. If you miss early voting or want to vote on election day, that's Tuesday, also affectionately known as Super Tuesday. So your opportunity here in the state of Tennessee to get out and participate in the presidential primary. There's a lot of delegates on there, so I'd recommend taking a look at the ballot before you go in, because there's a lot of things to choose from it in terms of delegates. Also want to mention the police department, the fine work they did with Pack a Cruiser, and the fire department was there as well, and all the donations that were raised for the Help Center this Saturday. And of course, Speedway, the gas station there on Lebanon Road for hosting the event. Wonderful turnout, a lot of people involved. Just two other things that I'd like to remind everyone. 5 p.m. on Thursday at Providence Church is the TDOT public hearing on the Central Pike interchange. That'll be from 5 to 7 at Providence Church. That is directly beside Rutland Elementary, if you're looking for the location, or across from the entrance of the Del Webb community there. That'll be this Thursday. Also, this coming Sunday, March 3rd, we'll have a remembrance ceremony at 1:30. This is going to be held there, but 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. The Remembrance Sunday service is going to be held there to remember the victims and all those that were impacted by the tornado that hit Mount Juliet. So that's going to be at the display that's beside West Wilson Middle School. And anybody that wants to is welcome and encouraged to attend the event there. So with that, that's going to conclude my comments, and I'll recognize our city manager for his.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, everybody that's here tonight and those watching at home. I send my thoughts and prayers as well from the city staff and our elected body and the citizens of Mount Juliet to the Rowlett family as well. As everybody recalls, we purchased some property for city property, and the Rowlett family was very good to the city over on Clemens Road, and just awful good people. And so we send our thoughts and prayers. Commissioner, I totally agree with you about tornado season, especially we always have it here. It seems like Mount Juliet in December and in March. And we know of some precious people that we've lost as a result of tornadoes. We seem to be Tornado Alley for whatever reason now as a result of 40. So I think that's some wise information to pass along, especially this week. Oddly enough, I think we've got some storm threats this week. And so we just encourage folks to stay weather aware. Of course, we've got a great public information team, police department, fire department, trying to get that information out. And we'll be doing that going forward as well. So very good point. I also like to wish Miss Hefner a happy 35th birthday. And it's congratulations to her for her 35th birthday. Well, I think we can all remember when we turned 35, what a monumental time that was. And you don't remember that? Yeah, me neither. But happy birthday, Miss Ree. And just continue to shop local, as the commissioners have all mentioned. We've got some really good business information coming soon for some new businesses. And as Commissioner Justice said, that takes everybody in this room, our wonderful citizens, many others, making this such a great place to live and locate new businesses. And there's going to be some really cool announcements coming in the very near future, which we're excited about. And just appreciate everybody's efforts in doing that, with us having such a wonderful place to call home. With all the challenges you see across the country, it's pretty darn nice to be able to call Mount Juliet, Tennessee, a place where we live and raise our families and enjoy the life we have. So, Mayor, that concludes my report. And thank each of you for all you do.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your comments. With that, we'll move into the business portion of our agenda. We have 4 items here under consent agenda. I will read those for the record, which is 11A, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance 2023-24 to appropriate funds for the purchase of an ambulance and vehicles for the fire and EMS department. Second item is an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance 2023-24 to appropriate funds to replace a damaged drug fund vehicle. 11C is an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance 2023-24 to appropriate funds for the purchase of an ambulance and vehicles for the fire and EMS departments. And the fourth item is an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance 2023-24 to appropriate funds for the purchase of a police vehicle for the police department. Is there a motion on these 4 items?
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's the 4 carry on consent. City Manager.
Mayor, I just want to admit, I feel like the Board of Commissioners deserves this, the elected body, and the citizens. Thank you for stepping up and providing the tools that we need to keep our citizens safe, especially when it comes to our police and fire services. Well done.
All right, thank you, sir. The next item is under new business. We will read 15C, a resolution to approve the memorandum of understanding with Voluntary Behavioral Health and to authorize the city manager to sign.
Second.
Motion and second. The item's on the floor. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? 15C carries unanimously. The next item is found under new business 13B, an ordinance to conduct a referendum to approve increasing the Board of Commissioners to a 7-member body by adding 2 at-large seats. Motion second. The item's on the floor. Commissioner Hefner, it's under your sponsorship. Recognize you first.
Thank you, Mayor. So the city, and I don't know where we're at with our special census, but if you go by a U.S. Census that was done a few years ago, we're right at about 40,000 residents in the city of Mount Juliet. Given an estimate, we're looking at each district having about 10 citizens. To me, when you look at Lebanon, I believe they have 7. Our planning commission actually has a 9-member board. I think it's time to add 2 additional seats to help better cover the citizens of Mount Juliet. And there are times when we have instances. I'm sure we're going to come up during the spring break holiday. We're going to have several members that are going to be out. I think that's going to help mitigate any situation where we have a 3 majority or a 3-member board. I just think it's a good idea. This is a referendum which requires 4 of the 5 votes. It's a majority or 3/4. So it would require 4 of the 5 members of this board to approve on 2 readings, to move that to the ballot. And what I'm asking this board to do is allow the citizens of Mount Juliet to vote on this very important subject. So with that, and I can get into the details, it would entail 2 at-large seats, similar to the mayor's position where the city would be voting on it, although they would not carry, obviously, a mayor title. It would be just 2 at-large seats. The terms, the highest vote count would carry an initial 4-year term. The second highest vote count will carry an initial 2-year term. and upon a successful reelection would then going forward would kick into a 4-year term. So that helps prevent a situation where you have a complete or a large majority overturning. So we like to so we spread those elections out so we don't have a massive overturn. So that's why it's staggered. Gino, I appreciate you drafting this up for me, and it's pretty straightforward. It's an ask not by this BOC, but it is an ask to allow the citizens to vote to expand this board to 7.
Vice Mayor Trevette.
Sure. Obviously, last couple of days was when I first seen this because the agenda came out a little late. I'd ask to defer this so we can get some more information and actually get, be able to at least see what our options are. Because again, until the census comes out, I'd like to see what kind of numbers they are, as well. There's a lot of talk behind this topic, but also there's not a whole lot of data behind it as well. That's just something I'm gonna put on the table. So, we defer it until after the census.
Was that a motion to
It was a
defer
motion.
after the census? Was there a second on that?
Sure. Okay.
Well, I'm not, okay, well, I'm not.
Well,
sorry.
there's not a second, then it dies for lack of,
Well,
so.
So there's no second on it for the moment, so we'll continue discussion. Commissioner Mullally?
Okay, I completely disagree with the at-large seats. It could have, I'm just not willing to go there. I mean, I think it's potentially dangerous. I don't believe it's in the citizens' best interest. It's not a matter of allowing the citizens to vote on it. I think the vast majority of citizens don't even keep up with city government. So it doesn't make sense for something like this to be put before the voters. It's not that I'm silencing their voice. It's that the vast majority doesn't even understand how the city works. They don't realize how, the process. They don't realize funding. It's just not that simple. So I do not think it's in the citizens' best interest. I don't disagree that at some point we need to add commission seats, but not at-large seats. But now is not the time. It is basically growing government when it's not necessary at this time. What are the numbers? What's the cost? Has that been even discussed? Because I've seen nothing on it. We are currently doing a special city census that's not even complete yet. Before we add to the commission, districts should be redrawn, and that's not been done. I would support redrawing districts once our population reaches 50,000 and then adding 2 elected district seats.
Was that a motion? Or?
No, I want to finish discussion.
She said it wasn't a motion. No.
He's got a motion on the floor to defer it. I haven't heard a second. So.
No, there was no second for saying that.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, there was no second. Commissioner Justice.
Several years ago, we voted for home rule. I don't know how many actually lived here when that happened. I think Mayor, you were here then, weren't you? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That allows us to actually do some things with our charter that the state legislature does not have oversight. It's a different kind of government. It's not been changed. When I got elected, I think there was approximately 15,000 people that sat there in Mount Juliet. We had 5 commissioners. We now have 40,000 and we still got 5 commissioners. The level of growth that we're talking about it's not been seen in most places. But we're not talking about growing government. We're talking about growing representation. So I'm going to disagree with you there. I think if anytime you grow the representation and you give more people access to representation, that can't be a bad thing. Number one. Number two, I would also disagree. I don't think the people are I will tell you they're not probably as informed as I would like for them to be. So I'm not going to disagree with you on that to the largest degree. But there's a lot of people out there, and I've learned recently just some of the comments about this Mongolian mess that we called an ethics quagmire. There's a lot of people that make comments about that I didn't think, to be honest with you, paid a lick of attention, but they did. So there is more seeing what's going on here. But I will tell you that my time has gotten busier and busier and busier, and it's going to get busier and busier. Myself and Mr. Vet, Commissioner Vet, we're fixing to get what District 4 has gotten, because that's built out to a large degree over there, and everybody is coming our direction. So we're fixing to be busier and busier and busier. And if there's somebody else out there that can help but provide the representation to the people that voted us in, yeah, we need to give them an opportunity. I would also say that it should be made clear that we're not talking about doing this. We're talking about giving the people of our city an opportunity to say if they want to do this. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote, because I really don't know. But I would like the opportunity to be able to vote on it. And I would like to give that opportunity to the people that I represent and give them an opportunity to vote on it. I don't want to take that opportunity away from them by not putting it on the ballot.
I will point out there is not a to your point, a fiscal note attached to this, so we would need to account for. I'm sorry. Would need to account for the financials on this, capturing the salaries, things like the salaries, cell phones, anything else that's going to be associated with it. We do have a resolution requiring those for items that are going to be impactful. And that sometimes we'll see that added on second reading if it moves to second reading. I guess my concern about it was the at-large positions on this being here. With the way it's currently defined at large, you could wind up with a scenario where you have 4 voting members of the board sitting on one cul-de-sac. Excuse me, I thought I was over the cough here, but it seems to be troubling me still a little bit. But you could wind up with 4 members of the board living on one cul-de-sac, so that is a little concerning. I would feel more comfortable if these were district positions, ensuring geographical representations of the city and not the potential of a number of people winding up in one neighborhood or one street or cul-de-sac for that matter. So that would be my biggest concern on this going forward. And I'll yield the floor so I can take another drink of water. Commissioner Mullally.
All right, I'll throw out a motion to amend to remove the at-large reference, to put a vote before the people, to once the population in the city reaches 50,000, the districts will be redrawn, and that 2 elected district seats will be added.
I was getting up. I thought Mr. Beasley was bringing me something, but you had a motion to add 50,000 to put a trigger at 50,000.
Yeah, at 50,000,
And
where the
you
districts
seconded
would be, where the districts would be redrawn, and then 2 elected district seats would be added.
So 2 additional seats.
Elected
And
district seats.
okay, and I guess the biggest benefit of that was we would already be, if the census hit 50,000, we'd already be doing redistricting. Is that the intention as well? Okay. All right. Do you want to add anything else? Not.
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the Commissioner Justice?
One of the reasons that I think this needs to happen now as opposed to waiting, and when the city was first created up to the point where I think it was around 98 or 99, Julie, you may remind me, but there were no districts. Everybody was elected at large, and then the mayor was selected by the people at this table. Around 2000, 98, 99, 2000, somewhere right around there, Mayor Wainick was in office, and the commissioners, for the first time, actually, it was a district that was created. So we had 4 districts. When that happened, there were about 3,500 to 4,000 people that each commissioner represented. That was manageable. Okay. Since then, we're at 40,000. We've gone from 3,500 to 4,000. Now we're representing 10,000 people each. That's not as manageable. These are part-time positions. I think now is that time. I don't think 50,000 is the time. I think now is that time. I don't disagree with you on the districts, and I think, it'd be a great opportunity. We take and redistrict as to where these positions would be. Give us an opportunity. But I think that when we lower the numbers that each person represents, they get better representation. And I think now is as good a time as any to do that. I can't see why we wouldn't do it. As far as a fiscal note, that's minimal because we make nothing for the most part doing this anyway. Anybody that's in this for the money, well, bless their heart. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think anybody here is doing this for the cash. So the fiscal note, and we could have that by the second reading, I don't believe would be any. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd like an opportunity if we could to move forward with it. Give the voters an opportunity to tell us what they want.
Vice Mayor?
Well, I think I'm gonna go back to some concerns that both the mayor and also the commissioner stated, which was we don't have the numbers, and also the fact that if we do add these 2 seats, who's to say they're not in all one district? And then that could be a major issue. This right here, I think by splitting it up and adding 2 more commissioner seats, whether if it's 40,000 or 45,000 or 50,000, I think that's the concern is right now, as you just stated, we want to be able to have representation for each district as well as the people. Right now, that seems like those 2 seats that we'd be adding would be floating. So again, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, when it comes to making sure that that district has representation. So when it does come time to maybe a developer or maybe somebody else is coming in, there is some type of, let's say, skin in the game because they live in that district, they're representing their people, and they also listen to their people. They're not floating from district to district. Because again, let's say, for example, if somebody is elected, they're in your district, then that right there, again, that just gives those 2 votes for that district and also the fact that, for that developer or whatever. So same thing for Scott, for myself, Jennifer. At the end of the day, the main goal is to represent the district, to be the voice for the district. And if we have a floating situation, there is no real representation. It is representation of the city, but not the district. And that's why, again, whatever that number, right now it's on the table, it's 50,000. I mean, if we hit the 45,000, at the end of the day, I think that is the wise choice. If we just push this through right now, I can tell you right now, yes, everybody's district's growing. I understand that. But at the same time, we've been maintaining and I'll tell you right now, I have not missed a call. I've returned all my calls and I'm maintaining. So, maybe not everybody is, but at the same time, right now, what I'm getting is the fact that, I'm maintaining my district. So, I tell everybody all the time on camera, please call me up. Let me know what's going on. If there's any challenges, so everybody's different. So, but at the end of the day, let's go ahead and, I don't need any correction, but you can give your opinion. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to ask the city recorder, could you restate how you've got the amendment stated?
Motion to amend to remove the at-large reference.
We don't really have you on a mic.
Motion to amend to remove the at-large reference to allow the vote before the people once the population reaches 50K. 2 elected district seats will be added.
that was to allow the vote once the population hits 50K, or it was to vote on it and then take effect when the population hit 50K? Okay. Okay, that's the way I thank you for clarifying. Just want to to remove the at-large reference, which would essentially create 2 new districts. They would be this would go to referendum, and if it proves, once the census reaches 50,000, once we redistrict, we would be adding 2 new seats at that point. Yes, correct. Just make sure we're all on the same
And
page
we would
here.
redistrict.
Yes, part of redistricting. Commissioner Hebner?
Thank you. I wanted to respond to the data. I was told, I asked the question, where are we at with the census? I was told we're going to make it over 40,000. So I'm not sure what other additional data you need. I'd like to understand what data you need. Happy to defer this and get you the information. But if you're talking about the census that's going on right now, we were told at the last BOC meeting it was going to be over 40,000. We don't know if it's going to be 41,000 or 42,000, but I don't know that it's going to be much. I don't know. Do we know where it's going to come in? There was a chart over here. But that aside, when is our next? My question is to Gino. When is our next census? When will we determine when we get to the 50,000?
26 is the next special census, and then and then we do because we do it on all years.
We redistrict on the 10-year.
So we just went through the redistricting. Okay, so the next census wouldn't be for another 30. Did we say 2030?
2030 is the next special census.
Okay.
We do generally 2 special.
So
You can do it every 3. You can do a special census every 3 years.
So likely that won't happen. So we're talking about in 6 years, and given the tremendous growth in the U-Haul stats, now is the time to be making the decision proactively in anticipation of getting to 50,000, 55, 60,000, not doing it retrospectively in 6 years from now. We've had 5 members since, how many?
Since the city's inception.
Since the city's inception.
Well, I think
Okay.
you're right.
So the majority of the time, we've had a 5-seat board. Okay, well, for at least as memory can recollect, it's been 5. Is that fair?
We did start with.
Okay.
For the first.
Correct. So, and I'm fine to defer this to get your data that you need. So once we determine what the data is and the information that you're looking for, I understand the agenda item. The agenda didn't come out until Thursday. But the purpose of getting it on there is to have this conversation and to find out, okay, if there's some gaps, let's talk about it. If we need to redistrict, when's the next time we can redistrict? We just talk about that? That's going to be what, 10 years from last year? 10 years? Is that the next opportunity? So I think we need to discuss it. If we need to have a workshop, that's fine. I'll sponsor it. If you have some specific data that you want, happy to get that, provide that. We'll certainly resolve the fiscal note that's absent from the ordinance. But setting an arbitrary number like 50,000, to me, doesn't make any, I don't think that makes sense. I think this needs to be voted on by the citizens. Let the citizens decide. In the election booth, they're going to decide if 2 people living in a cul-de-sac is going to be a detriment to the city or not, or 3 or 4 people living in a cul-de-sac. I guess that is a scenario that could happen. I guess so we're flying unicorns. But I think that this vote should take place. And we're talking about an election. This would potentially go on the 2026 ballot, would not go on. Well, take that back. It would go on the next election if it's passed, which is 2024. So it would happen this year. So that's all I have to say. This is something that put in front of the voters sooner rather than some arbitrary trigger number.
Thank you, sir. I would add, it was somewhere, it was when Mayor Wainick was the mayor at large,
Mayor in
1993.
Right. And he brought in the 5 districts.
The 5 districts is in our charter already. Yeah, well, yes, the districts are in the charter. And if memory serves right, those are based on population triggers that we were able to consider it once the city reached a population size that we were able to have that referendum.
That was 10,000 for the mayor.
Yeah, once we hit a population trigger on that, we were able to do that. So there is precedence for having population triggers. I guess this is the question I have, and it's just, I don't know any other way to do it than just say it. Can anybody think anywhere, anytime in all of human history, Mount Juliet, Wilson County, Tennessee, United States, globally, solar system, universe, where adding more politicians made any scenario better? So that's essentially what we're asking to do, is add two more politicians to the mix, and that it would potentially make more better if we had more politicians. I will say, to the numbers of people representing stuff, we have 7 school board members that represent the whole county, and they recently increased to, I say recently, within several years, increased the number of members they had, but they represent a whole county. Bigger budget, bigger school system. The state of Tennessee, best of my knowledge, has had 99 representatives and 33 senators ever since this second constitution is passed, and it could predate that constitution. I just haven't read the first one. So there's that, but I don't know that this is wrong if the voters want to do it either. I'm just expressing my questions and concerns that I have. But I yield the floor, Commissioner Mullally.
Well, I just want to say that this is, like Commissioner Justice said, it's not about the money. It's a service position. It's an investment. It depends on how much time you invest in your district and in the city. So for me, I got roughly the same amount as everybody else. I don't have a problem, communicating. I'm not saying none slipped through the cracks, but I try to answer every single email, every single text, social media post, if I'm tagged in it, or the comments under something that I post, I respond. I give people answers. So I go over and beyond and even do a newsletter, which takes a lot of time. So I personally don't have a problem keeping up with my district. And I don't have a full-time job. I have 4 part-time jobs, which is like a full-time job. So I just don't think it's a problem now. I don't think it's necessary. I put forth, let it be a referendum vote this November, but with my amendments, but not as written.
Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Yes, it is to remove the at-large portion, making them district positions, and the districts will be added when the census shows a population of 50,000.
A motion to amend.
You have the floor.
When the population drops to, increases to 45,000.
Okay, so you got a motion and a second. So your amendment is to to remove the 50,000, set the threshold to 45,000.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, there's a motion and second on changing the 50,000 from 45,000. Any questions or comments on that? All right, all in favor of 45,000 instead of 50,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, we're back on the original amendment. Any other questions or comments on it? All in favor of removing the at-large and setting the population trigger for 50,000, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
The motion prevails by a vote of 3-2. So we're back on the ordinance as once amended. Any other questions or comments on the ordinance? I have one more amendment. I would like to amend the a second clause to the ordinance to limit all elected positions, to be limited to 3 consecutive terms.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any questions on the amendment? Commissioner Mullally, you recognize?
Are you talking about the 2 extra seats or everyone?
All positions.
To be limited to 3 consecutive terms, 4-year terms?
That's correct. Commissioner Justice?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for even talking about this, because this was actually brought up by Commissioner Hefner months ago, and I think I was not present during that conversation, or I'm not sure how that happened, but ultimately it wound up not going through. So Commissioner Hefner, you're at least you're following through with what you promised you were going to do at your election. And whether I agree with that or not, I will say I don't necessarily agree with, in local elections, that there be a term limit put on there. I think the voters are actually the term limits. But I do understand the need in the larger elections. And I will also say that you're never going to see me vote against putting something in front of the people that we represent. I think for somebody to do that who actually sits in this position, that's just stupid. So I will be voting in favor of this, and that gives us an opportunity to put it in front of the people and let them vote, which is what we were trying to do with the other. But the power goes to the other side this time, Commissioner Hefner's side. But this part of it I like. So again, following through with your promise to the people that got you elected to begin with, good job, and I'm proud.
Commissioner Hefner?
No, I do appreciate that. And I was prepared to bring term limits tonight, but I had some more work to do on it. So this does shortcut that a bit. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you.
All right. Excuse me, Commissioner Mullally.
All right. I have a problem with term limits because right now, every voter in the city has 100% of the voting power right now. If you put term limits on, say if you're the entire population of the city, and 51% vote for term limits, and the other 49% want to keep their commissioner in if they're doing a good job, you lose your right. You no longer have a voice at that point. So you take away that right. So you lose it. Right now, every single voting member in the city has 100% of the voting power. And if you put term limits on, you take that away. That to me is government overreach. So I don't support the term limits.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm having a hard time.
Commissioner Justice?
I apologize. I'm having a hard time understanding what you're saying or what you're maybe I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm not understanding exactly what you mean when you say. Can you explain that again for me?
Mr. Mullally?
Bowen, all right. If everybody in this room is the entire city, and if 51% of the people want term limits and 49% want to keep their commissioner in, they want that choice. If their commissioner is doing, or mayor is doing a good job, they should have the right to keep their person in there if they like them, if they're doing a good job. But if you put term limits on, then 51% of the population takes away the right of the 49%. So right now, everybody in this room in the city has 100% of the voting power in the voting booth. The way it is right now, you put term limits on to vote for term limits, the other percentage of the ones that want to keep their representative lose their power. It's government overreach, in my opinion.
Commissioner Hepner?
Thank you, Mayor. Would agree with that, with one exception. You can win your district by one vote. 99 people can vote against you. You can have more people voting against you than you actually have voting in your favor. How is that? And I believe that was your scenario. You had 65% of the people in your district that voted against you. And you're supposed to be a representative of your district. That, to me, is kind of speaks to what you're saying, right? But in an opposite way. If we had primaries, if we had runoffs, if we had, two people running against the same seat, then I can understand that. But that's not the situation now. You can win by one vote. It is not done by the majority. It's number of votes. So again, you'll have the opportunity if this passes to vote like every other citizen in this city to vote against it. And I'm sure you're going to vote against it in the booth if it makes it that far. So again, I say let the people of the city of Mount Juliet decide on term limits. It ensures a change in these seats up here, which I think is good for the city of Mount Juliet. So I'm obviously in favor of it, but thank you. That's
All right, Commissioner Mullally?
Your scenarios, who voted it for or against and all that's irrelevant, because it does take one vote. It's a majority vote. You win by one vote, you win by one vote. That's the way it works. It doesn't matter. You win by one vote, that's the way it works.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Commissioner Justice?
Can I make a motion to divide? Separate these?
Well, there's only one motion on the floor.
Well, I thought there was a separate motion though for the, there was a separate motion actually, or an amendment that was made. And what I'd like to do is make that separate so we could vote on that separate from the,
Well, the amendment hasn't passed yet.
and that's what I'm saying. I would like to divide that. I would like to consider that separate from the original ordinance. It's been amended.
No, I don't. If the amendment passes, then once we get back to the floor with twice amended, you could make that motion to separate the two items. But if it doesn't fail, then there's no action to take. I mean, if it fails, it would be no action to take anyway. So.
Okay, since this is, and somebody, Gino, you're going to have to help me out with this, I think. But if I'm not mistaken, doesn't it take 4 to move it forward? 4 votes to put something on?
It does
Or is
take
that-
a 2/3 majority to pass this to move a referendum forward.
But this is a motion to amend, which is the regular rules. But when you get to the final motion, you need 4.
Need 4 out of the 5 at the final.
How far, if I may, Mayor? I just have to ask Gina a question, if I may.
Ask.
How far along are you on the ordinance that Commissioner Hefner asked you about? For the,
Term limits?
yes, sir.
Just scribbling some stuff down.
Okay, so but you could have it ready for the next meeting without any problem. And would it include the details of how that works, whether it be consecutive versus non-consecutive?
Mhm.
Okay. So there's more
But
detail.
it says consecutive. I mean, it's real easy. It's 3 consecutive terms or 2 consecutive terms. I think it's 3 is what you talked about. And consecutive terms. I mean, that's the only way to, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So you sit out a term and then you run again.
Okay. Okay. So does the amendment meet the same standard as the original ordinance that it has to have 4, or does that?
Amendment only requires a majority vote.
Okay.
Shall we vote on the amendment?
I got a question of the cutoff, the deadline for get it on the ballot.
Let's vote on the amendment and we'll come back to the thing. All in favor of the amendment to add all elected positions will be limited to 3 consecutive terms, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, but the amendment prevails, so we're back on the ordinance as twice amended. Commissioner Mullally?
What is the cutoff for getting something on the ballot in November? Like if,
Well,
What-
I can't tell you the exact date, but the qualifying deadline to become a candidate is August 15, plus there's a 1-week withdrawal period after that. And I have inquired in the past, and they're able to put ballot initiatives on there. There's a little flexibility after that date. I can't give you the exact date, but it's going to be somewhere September or something before, because they've got to get the the absentee ballots out at some point, and there's a date set by the state that they have to have that ballot certified. I don't know what the date is, but it's going to be somewhere August 15th or later. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's about right. I've got Labor Day in my head for some reason.
well, I guess I was asking more if the term limits are split from this referendum vote, and it came back as another referendum vote, what is the cutoff for getting that one in and getting it on the ballot? That's what I was asking.
You've got a number of months to get that accomplished. All right. Commissioner Justice, did you have a motion you were wanting to make?
Yes, sir. I would. I'm sorry. Yes, sir, I would. Actually, since we've got this coming up in form of an ordinance at the next meeting that Mr. Marchetti has been working on, rather than just a cursory amendment, I'd like to divide this and then defer it, actually, so that we could actually consider the entire ordinance at the next meeting.
Well, we could still consider the ordinance at the next meeting.
Then there's no need for this particular.
We still got a second reading on this
Amendment.
if it does pass tonight.
I'd like to make a motion to defer this to the next meeting where we can actually put it together. Otherwise, I think there's probably 2 votes out here, and then we'll kill it in its tracks anyway. So,
Okay, a motion to defer 1 meeting. Is there a
Yes, sir.
second on that? Right. A 1-week deferral is on the table. Any questions or comments on the advisement of deferral? 1 meeting, that's a week. 1 meeting. All right. Vice Mayor,
Can we make that 2 meetings, please?
you could ask the person who made it if
no, I mean, we only need one because
You didn't cut my mic on.
Because the ordinance that Commissioner Hefner's been working on is going to be brought at that 311 meeting.
Okay. Well, Vice Mayor, you can make a motion to amend.
I make a motion to amend and push it out for 2 weeks.
Is there a second on pushing it for 2 weeks?
I mean, 2 meetings.
2
2
meetings.
meetings, sorry, 2 meetings.
I'm sorry, I rub off on folks. Commissioner Hefner.
This is going to require 2 meetings, 2 readings.
Well, did anyone second that Vice Mayor's motion? Gotcha. We'll record you as the second because I didn't hear another one. So excuse me. Cap.
No,
Commissioner.
there's going to be 2 readings on this anyways. If we need to make amendments at the second reading, we could do that, correct? Yeah, I say we move it forward. And then if there's anything that needs to be worked out between now and the second reading, we can do that at the second reading. Or if we need to defer the second meeting, we can defer the second meeting.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
What part are we talking about?
They keep talking about the deferral for,
Correct.
talking about the need for the deferral.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm ready to vote on first reading myself. Any other questions or comments on the advisement of deferring one meeting? All right, all in favor of a one meeting deferral, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Nay. It was failed by a vote of 2-3. We're back on the ordinance as twice amended. Any other questions or comments on the ordinance? This is the original ordinance as amended twice. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the ordinance passes first reading with a vote of 4-1. It will be back. Is there any requirements I'm not aware of to skip a meeting on referendums? Not that I can think of, but I asked. So we will be back, not in 1 week, but at the next meeting, March 11th, for second reading. All right, the next item on the agenda is 15A, a resolution to approve the attached, this is actually consent agenda here. I'll read everything except for 15C, which has already been considered. Read 15A, B, and D. A, which is a resolution to approve the attached contract with the Hall Group for architectural and design services for the renovation of Fire Station 1. 15B, a resolution to approve the attached contract with Hall Group for architectural and design services for the new Fire Station 3. 15D is a resolution to approve the settlement agreement and release between the City of Mount Juliet and plaintiffs with the hospitality group, Elaine Maltis and Mickey Pizza LLC in a settlement lawsuit pending in the District Court of Middle Tennessee, Chavinas versus City of Mount Juliet, case number 331 CV 1219, and a representative of the City of Mount Juliet is authorized to assign this agreement. Those 3 items. Is there a motion for these items? Have a motion? Second. 3 items on the table under consent. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Commissioner Maleti.
Where does it say that number 15 resolutions is on consent?
It says new business consent agenda items, 14.
But that's 14. This is 15.
This is 15. Oh, you know what? You got me. If there's no objection, I'm just going to read them one at a time. I apologize. 15A, a resolution approving the attachment contract with the Hall Group for architectural and design services for the renovation of Fire Station 1. Is there a motion? Got a motion? Second. The items is on the floor. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Maleti?
Chief, question. This, by the way, Station 1 is on Belinda Parkway. I know that there's no sprinkler system in that station. So with the renovations, the only thing I found that could be a sprinkler system is a fire suppression system. Is that a sprinkler system or not?
sprinkler system or it can be a hood system for the stove and et cetera like that. Currently, Station 1 does not have sprinkler system. We're going to try to price that into this, and we actually are looking at pursuing grants for both the sprinkler system for Station 1 as well as the vehicle exhaust system.
Okay.
For safety components. for
Yeah,
Station
I
1.
would
But
like to,
We're going to do that in with the pricing and see kind of where we're at.
okay,
Making sure that we can do it and achieve what we need to achieve with the renovations.
okay, all right.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We will move to 15B, a resolution approving an attached contract with Hall Group for architectural and design services for the new Fire Station 3. Motion? Second. Items on the table. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's approved with a unanimous vote. Last item is 15D, a resolution approving a settlement agreement and release between the city of Mount Juliet and Plaintiffs. This is the plaintiffs to settle the lawsuit pending in the United States District Court of Middle Tennessee, and a representative of the city of Mount Juliet is authorized to sign. Motion? Second. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Lady?
I just want the people to know what this is. We're setting the higher fees for the out-of-city food truck vendors. Some of those filed a lawsuit. Our position for doing that is defendable, but it was advised by our legal team to not pursue the lawsuit by saving the city money. So this would be a $5,000 payout to the Beacon Center.
Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. The resolution does pass by a vote of 3-2. Any other business before us? Not seeing any on the agenda. We're at adjournment. Is there any objection to adjourning? Hearing none, we are adjourned.